Good morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always told, out of Voice of Radio, and today I owe a bit of an apology to Magmortar. You see, a new Magmortar was revealed recently, and I didn't give it the time of day. I didn't think it was good. In fact, I didn't think it was good to the point I didn't even bother giving it its own video. I just lumped it in, well, I popped it in with Seismitoad, right, as cards that had the potential to do big damage that I just didn't think were going to end up being particularly good. Well, this is where the apology comes in. Because you see, there's somebody over in Japan that's going to want a tournament with it. Now, I am getting some questions from people about, well, hang on a second. If tournaments are over, how come we've got winning decks? Some of these happened before the lockdown. Some of these may have been from littler shop tournaments that people are going to, even though they're not going to big tournaments, etc. So, you know, they're out there. And the fact of the matter is they are winning, you know, decent size, although smaller tournaments. And Magmortar's gone and won one, so we should probably have a little bit of a look at how it actually managed to do so. Shout out, as always, to the lovely Talonite X for hooking us up with a winning deck list. Although I should also say a massive shout out to the lovely David Hockman for providing our translation here. Lovely dude. So Magmortar then, what does it do? 140 HP on a stage 1 is quite nice. We got 2 energy, 30 damage plus burn. And we've got 3 energy, 80 damage. Each player discards the top card of their deck. And you do 100 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. Okay, I can see that happening. And essentially the deal here is quite simple. You need to try and make sure that both yourself and your opponent have an energy card on top of their deck, and then you're hitting for a pretty consistent 280 damage. Now, you're already hitting weakness on Zacian, although for 280 damage, weakness or not wouldn't really matter. But then 280 damage means you'd be getting a KO on Pikachu and Zekrom, Mewtwo and Mew, Reshiram and Charizard. Basically, every big multiple prize Pokemon that is around at the moment would be getting KO'd nice and easily. As a little bit of a side note here, if you are playing against a deck that has 180 HP or less, you can actually focus just on getting an energy on top of your deck or your opponent's and really take some of the stress out of the whole situation. So what we really need to do here is get an energy on top of your deck and an energy on top of your opponent's deck. And we have tricks for either. Getting energy on top of your deck, we've actually got 2. We've got MCCargo, and we've got the newer Oranguru. Now, MCCargo came out in Celestial Storm, and it's got a really nice ability that lets you search your deck for any card and put it on top of your deck. Now, a lot of the time you want to draw the card, and we'll get to that in a minute, we've got an option. But in this particular deck, you don't need to worry about drawing the card. All you need to do is get an energy card and put it on top of your deck, and then when you attack, you'll discard it and do a whole heap more damage. MCCargo is great here. But we actually play a 2-2 line of this, and we play 2 Oranguru. Why do we do all of this? Because Oranguru's got that amazing ability that lets you swap a card in your hand with the top card of your deck. Now, what you could do here is literally just put a fire energy on top of your deck and draw a card. You draw a random card, which is still quite nice, and you put a fire energy on top of your deck, which you need to do the extra energy, and that's it. That's what you do. That's fine. That will work. Good work, team. But of course, what you can do here is compare the two. And that'll work very nicely indeed. Because actually, what happens is, let's assume you've got a fire energy in hand, right? Search for any card you like with MCCargo, put it on top of your deck, use Oranguru, and then the sum total of that is that you've actually picked any card you like out of your deck, while guaranteeing that you've got a fire energy on top of your deck to do extra damage. Or if you've got 2 MCCargo, 2 Oranguru, Use the first MCCargo, search for any card. Use the first Aura Guru to grab it while putting a card back in your deck. Then use a second MCCargo to get another card. And then use a second Aura Guru to put a fire energy on top of your deck while getting that second card. Yeah, that's kind of ridiculous. That's how it works. Now, in terms of getting energy on top of your opponent's deck, it's not quite so easy. What we actually end up with here is a 1-1 line of Orbeetle. And a 1-1 line of Orbeetle isn't as good. It's got the ability Bug's Radar. Once during your turn, you may look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck and put them back in any order. Now, playing a 1-0-1 line of this does mean that there will be times where you just fail. You don't get this out, you don't get it onto the field, it's not working. And if that happens, it happens. Like, we'd rather it didn't, don't get me wrong, but it might, and if it does, it does. Sorry about that. However, on the days you can get it on, that's pretty awesome. Because it's not just getting an energy on top of your opponent's deck, it's looking at the top 3 cards of their deck and going, oh, there's a Cynthia, they're really going to want to draw that. So what you do is you put an energy on top of their deck, bearing in mind if there isn't an energy in the top 3 cards of their deck, you're not going to be able to put an energy on top of their deck and do the extra 100. If there isn't an energy, you can't leave it on top of their deck. Sorry. And then you give them a rubbish card to draw into, so you're not just trying to get an energy on top of their deck, you're also slowing them down. There might not be an energy there, but you can feed them a couple of cards that you know are not going to help them, and you can actually lock them out of the game with Orbeetle, while just doing a bunch of damage with Magmortar. And if you're doing 180 every turn, and guaranteeing that your opponent is drawing dead, that's good. That's very good. In terms of other Pokemon, there's only actually one other Pokemon that we play here, and it is Entei. Yeah, playing ourselves a bit of the old Entei. Now, this is the Entei that came around a little while ago now in Lost Thunder. So this is another one that's not going to survive the next rotation. 2 energy, 20 damage plus burn, so a rubbish version of Magmortar's attack. 3 energy, Eruption, 80 damage, each player discards the top card of their deck. This attack does 60 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. It is creepy how similar these 2 Pokemon are. They're weirdly similar. Like, Magmortar and Entei, they've got the same first attack, 2 energy plus burn, but Magmortar does 10 more damage, and the second attack is for the same cost, the same base damage, the same we do extra damage for each energy discarded from the top 2 cards of each player's deck, except Magmortar is 100 extra and Entei is 60 extra. So the deal is very simple. If you cannot get stage 2 Magmortar rolling, Entei is a weaker version that won't get as many KOs, but will allow you to just keep going and getting some decent damage on the field in the meantime. That's kind of cool. Now, in terms of trainer cards here, it's exactly what you would expect. The only thing that might be slightly surprising here is that you play Pokemon Catcher, but the reason we play Pokemon Catcher, it's any gusting on a coin flip and you don't have a lot of space. You don't have space to play 4 Custom Catcher, and so you kind of have to play Pokemon Catcher. Simple as that. We've got 4 copies of Welder, attach 2 fire energy and draw 3 cards. Both your main attackers attack for 3 energy, 2 with Welder, 1 is your attachment for the turn, done. We've got a couple copies of Cynthia, shove your hand into your deck, draw 6 cards, one of the best draw cards we've got, and a couple copies of Professor Magnolia, which is discard your hand, draw 7, the other best draw supporter we've got. We've got a couple copies of Marnie. Both players shuffle their hands and put them on the bottom of their deck. You draw 5, your opponent draws 4. Little bit of disruption, and of course it's really nice to disrupt your opponent right before you use Orbeetle to stick them with a terrible top deck. We've got Quick Ball as our Pokemon search du jour, because it gets all your basics, and of course we've also got Evolution Incense, because Evolution Incense gets your Evolution Pokemon. We've got Giant Hearth as our stadium of choice, because it lets you search out your fire energy. This deck doesn't play Heat Factory Prism Star. Discard a fire energy from your hand to draw 3. Personally, if I was playing this deck, I would, but then again, space is a little bit of an issue. And then we've got Fire Crystal, which lets you grab fire energy out of your discard pile. Very important, of course, because both Magmortar and Entei are constantly making you discard the top card of your deck, and it's going to be an energy, so this gets them back. Also, I feel like I called Magmortar a stage 2 at one point in this video. That's a really dumb comment. It's clearly a stage 1. My apologies. But you still need Entei and Magmortar here, because you can still only play 4, and it's a stage 1 rather than a basic. It's still a really good thing to play the pair of them. Let's just put it that way. Good to play the pair of them. Although we do still have to play a rare candy, because of course Orbeetle is a stage 2. The reason we only play one rare candy is because with MCCargo and Oranguru, you should be able to find it when you need it. Outside of that, we've got a couple of Pokekid to try and find our supporters, and a Power Pad to get our supporters back. Because supporters are good. This is a deck that I did not have on my radar. I hadn't even made the connection between Entei and Magmortar, I'll be honest with you here. And it worries me that this deck list is spread quite thin. You've got a 1-0-1 Orbeetle line with one rare candy. You're not playing much gusting at all. Your Pokemon search is not that heavy. You are really skimping in the early game. Now, as soon as you've got your MCCargo and your Oranguru rolling, you really are rolling and life is good. But it can take a little bit of time to get there, and that's a little bit upsetting. You have been warned. For the time being, ladies and gentlemen, I just want to know what you think about this. I love it. I think it's a great new budget deck, and I cannot sit here and tell you it's definitely going to be a top tier deck, but I can tell you that if you're looking for a nice budget option, it's going to be difficult to get many better than this. But I'd like to know what you think. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts, be nice. And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWassy, and Twitch for some live action at twitch.tv/PTCGRadio. If you want to support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all that good stuff, head on over to patreon.com/PTCGRadio, or you can do exactly that. And please do make sure you're checking out youtube.com/WassyPlays, where you can find out about a whole bunch of games that don't have Pokemon in, but are pretty gosh darned awesome nonetheless. But by far the most important thing, as always, look after yourselves until next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.